The power of yet. I want this to encourage you. I want this to make you happy, because it's not that you don't have, it's that you don't have it yet. I cannot make that clear enough. It's something that I had battled with for a very long time. And I mean, there's still some battle for it. But I was talking with my daughter, and she's 7 years old. And we were talking about a house. God has promised me a house. He showed me in dreams. There's just one thing after another that is showing there's going to be a house for us. I didn't want one. I'm just gonna be honest. I had one with my first husband, and I gave it to him in divorce. And ever since then, it was like, I don't want a house. I'm a mover. In relationships, I get up and move. In jobs, I get up and I move. Whatever it may be, I am not one to stay in one spot. Or I wasn't. Let me put it that way. I wanted to rent because it was just easier. I didn't want the home ownership things that go along with it. I just didn't want to. And then out of the blue, all of a sudden, I just was like, I want a home. I want to own a home. This is where I want to stay. It really shocked me. Really shocked me, because again, it was not something I wanted. It was not something I desired. So I know that once God placed that in my heart, and it was of him, that he's going to make it happen. And whether I am going to jump on board and do what I need to do to get to that point, or whether I'm going to fight him until he says here, he's going to make it happen, because that's what he wants. And so after a lot of going back and forth about it, we're still looking. And we were talking about it because I told my daughter that I saw a house that I thought, that I wanted. And I was like, nah, I don't really want it. So she proceeds to tell me, or during that conversation, I was like, well, we just don't have our house. And she says, yet. And it took me by surprise. And I was like, you're right. And she said, the power of yet. And she said that in her school, in her gymnasium, her teacher, and I'm going to throw this out here, Mr. Hines, her PE teacher has on the wall the power of yet. And I mean, it was like a lightning struck me, and I got so happy and was just so, and my daughter's looking at me, although she's gotten used to it now, but she's like, why do you say that? And I was like, Becky, of all these things that, my daughter's name is Becky, out of all these things that God has told me, and through all this stuff, if I would have listened a long time ago, that he told me that a long time ago, yet is meaning it's not here now, but it's coming. And I just, when praying for things and wanting things to change, and I downloaded myself on it's not happening, it's not here. I quit looking at the things around me, and I quit looking at what can happen and what will happen, and was taking my eyes off of what I knew he had promised me, and looking at what I don't have now. And getting envious and jealous of other people that are buying houses. I work for an appraisal management company. I do nothing but deal with realtors, loan officers, and people buying houses all day long. And it eats at you if you let it. Because it's like, these people call in, and some of them are, and I understand, is this report going to be complete in time? This is all I need to get my loan, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm sympathetic, and I'll be like, I completely understand, and this is where we stand, and then I do, and I give them the good, bad, and the ugly, because I'm a blunt person. But then there's some that call in, and they just want to be rude, and I'm like, do you understand that the position that you're in, I would love to be in that position, and I am sure there are hundreds, thousands of people that would love to be in that position, to be able to be in the process of wanting to buy that house. So, when I finally found my peace, got to the other side of my storm, and accepted what God had told me, that I needed to get to a point where I accepted and knew that it was coming. I just have to wait. Things don't happen overnight. And what I am praying for, and this I will speak at another time and probably over and over because it was drilled into my head many a times. Whatever you are praying for does not affect just you. Whatever you're praying for, there is other people involved, whether immediate, like my daughter, or whether it be the people who live in the house that I'm going to get, whether it be the loan officer that I'm going to deal with, the attorney I'm going to deal with, the realtor I'm going to deal with, the selling agent, the appraisal company. There's all kinds, the moving company I'm going to have to use. Whatever it is. And we don't sit here and think about these things, but if you do and realize how many people are going to be affected by your answered prayer, and I'm not saying that to be mean, and I'm not saying that to say that you're self-centered, because I sure enough felt that for a while after I realized that. But you're talking about a bunch of people that have free will that God has to put into place. In my last video of making provisions, when that happens, he's going to make those provisions, and he's working on them now, whether I see it or not. But me, if he said it, he's going to do it. And there's a sermon I heard one time, and it was so profound. And actually, let me get it so I can make sure that I tell it to you correctly. And I actually posted this around for a very long time because I did not want to forget it. Oh, and of course I'm not going to be able to find it. Haha. There can be a moment when God drops a mustard seed of divine faith into your heart, and it is settled. And I'm going to read it again. I'll read it a little slower. There can be a moment when God drops a mustard seed, the smallest, of divine faith. Divine faith meaning being from him, unexplainable, not earthly faith, not of, oh, it could happen, oh, if this and this works out, it happened. Divine, from him. Divine faith into your heart, and it is settled. And settled meaning it's done. Past tense, it's done. Past tense. Settled, ed, done. Not that it's going to be done, will be done. It is done. And when you finally accept that, when I finally accepted that and was like, okay, where do we go from here? Then, yes, I got disappointed when there was a house that I thought was mine and it winded up not being. But when I sat down and I let God have his way and I got out of my feelings and my emotions and I said, what did I do wrong? And he basically revealed to me, I didn't do anything wrong. What I did started things in motion. And he said, I have better for you. And then I had a lady at church this morning tell me that, yeah, well, actually, she came up, she said, so when do you move in? And I hadn't seen her, so she didn't have the update. And I said, well, it didn't work out. And she says, no, I know that. She said, but when do you move in? Because she has that faith for me of moving into my new place. And so we were talking, and she shared a story with me about some people that had basically the same thing, that whatever they had, there was a stipulation, and if she got a job or a higher paying job, that it was going to discount whatever help they were getting. And she got a job the day, I think she said the day before, the day of, that they were signing the papers for the house or the loan or whatever it was, that they found out she got this job and it cut them out of this, whatever it was that helped them to get this house. And they lost the house. There were some other things that went on, and whatever, that's their business. But basically she said that God winded up giving them a bigger and a better house. And while she's talking, and this is something that's followed me around too, I always keep hearing exceedingly abundantly. I'm a single mom. My credit is crap, and I have been working on it. And what is keeping me, not only not having the house, but what's keeping me from getting to that point is my credit score. and my funds. I don't have the funds for a house. I need to get my credit score to a certain spot so I can get assistance for down payment and whatever first-time home buyers, whatever else they have out there. So in the natural, in the world, I don't qualify. I don't qualify. There's no way that I will be getting a house within a year. If you look at, or if I listen to what the loan people are saying, if I listen to what the world is saying, if I look at my credit score. But in 3 months, God has already moved in different ways that has already showed me this is not a yearly thing. This is not within a year thing. This is soon. He has made a way for me to have, I got some money that was able to pay off some credit cards that I think I shot up like 20 points in my credit score within 3 months. And I am technically 18 points away from where I need to be. At the beginning of all this, the beginning of July, I think, I was 100 points away from where I needed to be. So within 3 months to only be 18 points off? How? So anyway, the power of yet. Just keep that in mind. Keep holding on. Let this be encouragement. You know if God, and don't live in that is it or isn't it. I lived there for the longest time, and I will post a video about that. Don't live in the is it or is it not. You know if it's a God. Don't let anything else. And one thing I was really big on is if you shut your eyes right now and I were to ask you a question, what is your first response? Whatever that first response is 9 times out of 10 the right one. It's the one that God wanted you to have. It's what you want, what you desire. It's after that moment when you start questioning and you let in those doubts and those, is this really it? But you know it. You just have a hard time believing because there's fear wrapped around it. You get that, reminds me of, it's coming to me like vines. Like if you look on the side of a house and there's vines growing up the house. You've got a beautiful brick house, but there's vines growing on it. What does that vine do? It winds up taking everything that's good and covering it up and squeezing it. And that's what those thoughts do when you have a belief or faith for something. So don't look at it as in it's not happening. It's going to happen because God said it's going to happen. And you know it because he's going to make sure you know. He's not going to let you look like a fool. And I had to learn that one too. And if it's not for you to know, pray about it. God, if this is not of you, if this is not of you, if it's not for me, then take it away. I prayed for a very, 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 very long time for God to remove something from my heart. He never did. He never did. It's there for a reason. And you pray until you find out that reason. But if he put it there, what you are praying for, what you have that faith for, it's coming. You're not going to like the waiting, but in the waiting, he is building you for that. There's that I've seen it before that it says, what you're going through is preparing you for your promise, for your answered prayer. And it's the truth. As much as you don't want to hear these things, they are true. And I will tell you the truth, whether you like it or not, because I don't like sugarcoating. And I don't like hearing those things over and over and over, but it was stuff that I needed to hear. And when I finally got it in my head, it was like, okay, you're right. You're right all along. So keep believing for whatever it is. And know that it hasn't happened yet. May God bless you and keep you. And I love you with all my heart.